What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Today I'm going to be doing a video for you guys talking all about manlands in Modern. What is a manland? Well, basically, it's what people call like these lands that act as not only lands, but as creatures as well. And the reason why I'm actually doing this video is because I was talking to one of my friends who plays Jund in Modern, and he's like, I think it's so interesting that like so many decks now like require their mana base to have these manlands, and the reasons why they're so good is because one, they act as an additional creature, not only as a type 2 land, so it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. It's like a multi-purpose type of card, which is really good. Having options in the game are really fantastic. Like, it provides mana when you need it to, but it can provide a creature when you need to, especially in the late game when you're like on top deck mode and you're all like, man, I can't do anything but play lands because you're drawing like 5 lands in a row, and then you're like, oh, I can animate my manland basically and swing at their face. So manlands are just really, really good. Another thing I really like about them is that they become, after they attack and after you move to your opponent's turn, like the lands like isn't a creature anymore, which I really like. So it stops like sorcery speed removal, which isn't like that prevalent in the format, but it's still there. So I really, really like that a lot. Some disadvantages to playing manlands is that if you are very low on mana and you're animating a manland, you have to be really, really careful, because if they like Path to Exile it, oh, not like Path is kind of a bad example, but like if they kill it and you're down a land, like how much is that going to hurt you? How much is it going to be okay if you're short that one land? So that's something really, really important to keep in mind about when you decide to like animate your manlands or not. Another thing I like about manlands, I like a lot, is that say like you pass turn and you kept your manland and a couple of, mana open so that you can animate it. It forces your opponent to attack in weird ways potentially, because they're like, well, if I attack with my dude, they're gonna block it with their manland and they're gonna kill mine and they're just gonna live. Or what if you're not even, you're not even planning on animating it at all? You're playing like mind games with your opponent at that point, because they're like, oh man, now I have to play around that, but then they're like, you want to do, cast the card that's in your hand and not animate your manland. So it forces them to like block in weird ways and attack in weird ways, which I really like. So I think it's just really, really cool. So yeah, awesome. So let's talk about a couple of the really popular manlands in Modern. I'm not hitting on like all of them, but I feel like I'm hitting on like the vast majority of them that I could think of off the top of my head. The first one I talk to you guys about is Inkmoth Nexus, and Inkmoth Nexus is in, at this moment, I believe it's just in Affinity and Infect. And basically, the deal with Inkmoth Nexus is that it's really, really good in both of those decks. It synergizes really, really fantastic. Why it's so good in Affinity, and for a while I didn't understand why. I was like, why is this, this deck running it? It's so weird. The reason why this Infect land is so fantastic is because a lot of times some games, life totals are like not relevant. Like, you cannot go through your opponent's life total. They're like gaining too much life or like whatever, and you're just like, alright then, alright I guess, like, I've got this Inkmoth Nexus that I can like, get in points of damage with infected points, which life totals just don't even matter, which is really, really cool. So I like that a lot in games where life totals do matter. So that's really awesome. And then in both of those decks, they have the ability to pump their infects, so it's not like, alright, it's gonna be on a 10-turn clock, we're gonna like constantly be swinging with this Inkmoth Nexus. In Affinity, you can pump it with cards like Cranial Plating, along with what is that card that I'm thinking of that I can't think of? Oh gosh, I'm totally slipping on what this card is called right now. Blinkmoth Nexus, there we go. Pump it with Blinkmoth Nexus, pumps it with other things. So Inkmoth Nexus is really good. It's also really good in Infect too. Again, especially because if they're like killing your dudes, you're just like, cool, I'm gonna animate my land. So I think that's really, really cool. Yeah, that's Inkmoth Nexus cards are really awesome. Now we're gonna talk about Mutavault. Mutavault I've seen in a couple of deck lists. Primarily I feel like Merfolk has been really enjoying this card. The reason why Mutavault's really, really good is because it is a creature in addition to its other types. This card like really good in like allies. Say you're trying to do like an ally synergy. Allies have been like kind of popping up a little bit recently. So you're doing a deck like Merfolk, where like having a certain amount of like creatures, like Merfolk creatures, is good, because then you can pump it with things like Master of the Pearl Trident? I think that's one, and not Master of Waves, the other one, the Lord of Atlantis, that pump your Mutavault, so your Mutavault's not just 2/2, it's like 4/4 or whatever, which is really, really cool. So yeah, that Mutavault's really, really good. On top of that, it's 1 mana to make a 2/2, that's like really, really good. If you look at a lot of creatures in this format, a lot of times you'll look at creatures and you'll be like, okay, cool. Like, how much mana am I paying for this creature? How much power and toughness does it have? You look at a card like Loxodon Smiter. First off, Loxodon Smiter can't be countered, but the fact that it's a 3 mana 4/4, that if they make you discard it with, say, like Liliana the Veil or something, you're like, cool, I have a 3 mana 4/4, or like in that sense, that card comes back to the battlefield. So it's really, really important to like look at things in the format. How much are you paying for your creatures, basically? So, Mutavault's really good. Now we're going to talk about, I think this is the best manland probably ever printed. And that is Creeping Tar Pit. This card is absolutely fantastic. Pretty much any black-blue deck in the format is going to be looking at this card. This card is absolutely amazing. I like killed people with this card so many times because I'm just like, they have a board of stuff and you do not care. You were like, I'm not swing with my Creeping Tar Pit, it's unblockable. Have fun dealing with it. Given it dies to a lightning bolt. There are a lot of things in the format that die to lightning bolts. Or like, a lot of people say that, they'll be like, oh, it does to a lightning bolt, it's bad. I'm like, there's so many things that die to lightning bolt, like Abrupt Decay too. So many things die to Abrupt Decay. It's like, doesn't mean that you can't run in the format, it just means like, they just die to those cards. So yeah, Creeping Tar Pit is just absolutely fantastic. 3 mana to become a 3/2, really good in and of itself. The fact that it's unblockable just makes this card absolutely fantastic. 100% would recommend this card. I really, really, really want to run 3 in my deck in my Grixis list, but I know I can't. I gotta have 2. This card is just absolutely fantastic. Alright, cool. Now we're going to be talking about Celestial Colonnade. And this card is really, really sweet, because for 5 mana becomes a land that is flying and vigilance. And I love the fact that this is vigilance so much, because the fact that you can like swing with this, a lot of times they can't block because it has flying. And the fact that it's got vigilance, so you can keep up that mana then. So a lot of times, with all these other creatures, you're never gonna have to like tap your dude, but this one's got vigilance, so you like swing with it, and then you're like, cool, I have mana for like Path to Exile, or like whatever it is that you want to cast. So I think that's really, really cool, given it is 5 mana. However, you're playing white and blue, so you're probably playing a control deck, so your games are probably going to be going on a lot longer, or probably going to be grindier, because control decks kind of do that. But Celestial Colonnade is just really, really fantastic. I really like it a lot. Awesome. Now we're going to talk about Treetop Village. And Treetop Village is really, really cool because, again, it's 2 mana to make a 3/3. That's like so good. And the fact that it's got Trample is really, really fantastic. Like, it's just, Treetop Village is so good. Now we're going to talk about a land that I didn't quite realize how good this was in Jund until I played against it, and that is Raging Ravine. This card is amazing because, like, you pay 4 mana for it, and then you're like, every time it attacks, you get +1/+1 counters on it, which is like absolutely fantastic. So like, you have your dude, and then it's like every single turn that you swing with it, it's gonna get bigger, which is really, really cool. And doesn't this also have Trample? Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it had Trample. That would have been so good. That would have been so broken. But yeah, the fact that like you pay 4 mana to make it a 3/3, and then immediately when it attacks, it becomes a 4/4. It's just absolutely fantastic. Super good. And again, I think Raging Ravine, especially in a deck like Jund, is really good, because a lot of times with Jund is that they run a lot of cards that make them discard their stuff. So like, they'll run out of things to do in their hand, and they're on like top deck mode a lot of times. So it's like, you're like, cool, I've got all this mana, what do I do with it? Raging Ravine, which is really, really fantastic. Cool. Now we're going to talk about one of my like favorite cards, I think, ever. Mainly because I kind of wanted to do the Splinter Twin combo around this card with Retreats of Coralhelm and Dryad Arbor. This card's really, really cool because it's like a land that, I like how it doesn't come in tapped. It's affected by Summoning Sickness, so like you can't animate it or anything like that, but like, it's just a 1/1. It's nothing super fancy, but it's like, it's just a 1/1 for like no mana basically, and you can tap it for mana, which is just like really, really fantastic, guys. I want to do the Retreats of Coralhelm Dryad Arbor combo so bad, because like you have like Dryad Arbor on the board, and then like your opponent's got like one kill spell, and then you're like end of turn Pestermite or whatever, or like or Deceiver Exart, and they're like kill it, and you're like Retreats of Coralhelm Dryad Arbor Splinter Swing go, and like they just kill them. Like I think that's like the coolest thing ever, and I kind of want to do it. But anyways, so Dryad Arbor is like really, really sweet, even without like the Splinter Swing combo. I mean, it just kind of makes it better, but Dryad Arbor is really cool. Again, you just don't pay anything to get a 1/1. It's like, it seems like good value. Alright, cool. And that is not... have you guys been paying attention to like what's been going on with the meta? Because apparently Eldrazi controls a thing now, and I don't know if it's good. I don't really know. Like one of my friends like built it, and he was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna build this deck. And like, I was like, what? And he's like, I want to play against like you, because you have like Tassiger and you exile things, and I want to get your lands with Oblivion Sower. And I was like, alright, I don't know if the deck is good yet. I haven't decided. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. Anyways, 2 more lands. So next we're going to be talking about Shambling Vent. And I've seen this card in a couple of different deck lists. I think I've seen it in some tokens lists, and I think I've seen it in maybe an Abzan list or something. Maybe I'm thinking of standard, but I'm not sure. I still like Shambling Vent a lot because it, you know, games where life totals are relevant, this card's really, really important. Like really good in like a burn matchup or something like that, because you have a 2/3 that's got lifelink, which are really cool. Really nice blocker, really nice attacker. I like it. And then the last land I'm going to be talking to you guys about is Lumbering Falls. And this one's really, really cool because like it has hexproof. So a lot of times like what you'll have happen is like you'll swing with your manland and they're like bolt it or path it or like whatever it is that they're going to do with it, right? And so they do that, but like Lumbering Falls has hexproof. So it's like you're all like, cool bro, I try to like kill it, like that's not in combat damage. Oh wait, you can't because it's got hexproof. So Lumbering Falls is just really, really fantastic. I like it a lot. Alright, yeah guys, that was it. That's pretty much it for talking about manlands. Hope I didn't miss like any like big ones or anything like that. Some upcoming videos that I'm planning on filming. I think I haven't decided if I want to talk about the ban list before it comes out or after it comes out. I think I'm going to talk about it after because I think that just makes more sense. But like I have a couple things to say about it. And I was actually considering filming it today, but I decided against it. But I don't know. I was kind of like, maybe I'll talk about ban lists today. But then I was kind of like, I really want to do some manland video. So yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Leave them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.